Yeah, so it's been over 10 years since I've been introduced to Logic's music. I think Young Sinatra was my first entry point into, seeing what Logic would offer in the hip-hop landscape over, pretty much the next 9 years for me. But as we started developing into the new sounds that we got, whether that be from Young Thug or other artists coming through and the landscape of hip-hop changing, I felt like I lost touch with Logic's music, and I think a lot of people kind of followed suit in the same way. And throughout the years, Logic has gathered a very, very massive core fan base, not a fan base that's been very fickle. They've stayed loyal to what Logic has done. But he kind of represents the underdog in a lot of people, the people that have gone through hardship, and it really keeps him engaged with his fans because people know, look, Logic can be quite an emotional person. He's got a lot of stories that he tells, albeit some of them can be quite repetitive, e.g. always telling us that he's mixed race. And when it came to the concept of Logic retiring, it's an idea that he had flirted with before. He's just signed this exclusive deal with Twitch, which is going to be a very, very big look for him. So fans are going to be able to, speak and lock in with him on that. He also played an undisclosed role in The Last of Us 2, and that game, well, we're not going to talk about that game because it's not a gaming review channel, but that's another big look for him. To be honest, in the maddest way, I look at Logic a bit like Arsene Wenger. It's like, when you're at your heights, that's, if there wasn't any thought of you wanting to quit, that's when you quit. But he didn't, he held on, and now we're here at this album, No Pressure. This is not Logic at his lowest point, but it's Logic with a little bit of a point to prove. He wants to go out, up here, high. He wants to go out strong. It's 15 tracks, so it's that mid-range length of an album for 2020 standards. He's had time to, go away for a little bit, think about what he wants to put on this album, what is the message he wants to leave his fans with for a while. Because do I think he's gonna quit music forever? No, hell no. But I think he might be gone for a while whilst he does this gaming thing, whilst he goes off to look after his son, whilst he spends time with his wife as a family unit, and spends time on other things away from music, because it has been a very, very solid grind from him for the last 10 years. But that's enough ranting, that's enough introductory basis. So yeah, if you guys like the review series, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. But let's get into this one. Let's get into No Pressure from Logic, the final album, his goodbye. Let's see what this is gonna say. Okay. At this point, I'm just waiting for the drop. Really matter. It's like the skip part of it.
Growing up, the world always told me I was lesser. Growing up, the world told me I could not address it.
I think we're gonna get a good album still. As a first song, it takes a little bit of a time to build up. We've got like a TV skit going off in the background, talking about old friends like No ID coming together to make something special. But as we get into the verse, Logic is in his pocket straight away. Obviously, I like the incorporation of having Snake from Metal Gear Solid, who's a game character, not a real person, talking about how Logic's trying to do a Metal Gear Solid thing for a new form of world domination, and apparently it won't work. So Logic looks like he's under no pressure to get this done. That's what I'm kind of picking up from early. And you know what? Just because of the time, right, of when this album's out and stuff like that, producing tracks for the underground like Harriet. Ooh, I don't know what Kanye West would think about that one. This sounds like some Childish Gambino 2014 shit.
Think it's gonna be a good day.
Hey!
Got the 9 in the glove. Saying it's my Jesus walks. I'm just saying, God, I need to talk.
Kanye? When he talked about messages ruining the art, that's such a good concept, because, when we look at other rappers who are popping in 2020, most of that is talking about not really messages, mostly just substances and other things. So Logic is that stark difference, and it's like, yeah, try and come tear me apart, but I'm feeling this one. I like it still.
So can you hit my line? I know you hear this rhyme.
Because it's like he's saying that he's been used to that kind of fame, and he's been used to that fame and that appreciation and adulation from his supporters, which is going to continue, because he's going to get subscribers on Twitch and he's going to get bits and all that stuff. I'm not great with Twitch, but you know what I'm trying to say, innit? But he is used to all of that, but now he wants God to hit his line so he can transcend away from what he's used to and live in a new form of lifestyle. And again, it's a repetitive theme that's going throughout the song, but it works because he's looking back at his career and he's reflecting in this point. Do you know what I mean? So Logic, man, Logic. All this was done in a week's worth of studio sessions and then perfected throughout a year. So I need to know more information. I know that he did a stream where he kind of said goodbye, and at the end he was very emotional and crying, but I don't know when specifically he started making these songs. But so far, 2 out of 2. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's in these songs, and not everything you're going to be able to pick up the first time. You're going to have to go back and listen, but there's like a feel-good factor about it. And I like the fact that Talia's back, coming through and just adding that like robotic sound that works so well on Under Pressure, that it's like a nostalgic feel, but it's like an update now. This one's called GP4.
Rolling together in this perfect harmony.
Okay.
I hear him dirty. That white boy can't rap. He talk good and act nerdy.
It might sound mad,
Rolling together in this
but I
perfect
feel like
harmony.
it's 100,000, because I like the fact that, you know, he talks about trigger happy police tend to trigger happy people. He also talks about the afterlife, thinking, yo, people think they got it made out for when they die, you know, like they're going to some paradise, even though they done some madness in their life. And it ain't working like that, because you don't know, nobody knows. You know what I'm saying? You know, having a conversation with Erykah Badu, or speaking about that in the record, saying that, you know, her and Jay Dilla were the two that, you know, inspired him a lot, amongst other people. And, you know, him using a sample and no auto-tune like T-Pain. Listen, come on. Why are people doing T-Pain dirty? Like, come on, it's still good. Right now, we're a couple of tracks in, but I feel locked in. I feel like I'm waiting for the next record. I want to hear what he has to say next. So, without further ado, next record, let's see what he's got to say.
No strings attached, I just let it dissolve. Most people want to tell you what to do, cause it's what they want to do. If they had the opportunity to, but too scared. That's why I have evolved. Use a motherfucking crustacean.
Man said, I've evolved, you a crustacean. Man said, you're out here moving like Sebastian, singing Under the Sea. I like the actual beat on the track itself. It's got this old school, really like feel good feeling, but then the song's called Celebration, so I wouldn't expect anything else. You know that feeling of saying, you know, he's used to his people putting him down, but he ain't got that feeling anymore. And then the funniest bar of the whole thing was, you know, when he said bad bees want to come do some things and he wants to just make money instead. He just keeps it moving. He ain't got time for that, right? He's got money to make. He ain't interested in all that. You know what I mean? Right now, my guy's got his own pattern. He's got his wife, he's got his kid, he's got his Twitch deal, he's got anything else that comes up. Bad bees, you keep over there.
Flesh on my blood, I caress. Right on the pace, so it's fresh. I take my time, but express. It drinks till I was 25, cause I'm my mom's kid.
Right.
All I knew ain't gon' eat. What's up?
Oh, wait, whoa. Okay, that might be my favorite track so far, you know. That might be my favorite track so far, because we start with this kind of like open mic setting where Logic is like a lone wanderer who doesn't usually show up on Monday nights, comes in and delivers a first verse which pretty much talks about, you know, being addicted to crack as a baby, you know, being basically a crack baby, wishing that he gives his family a better life than his parents or his mother and everyone ever did for him. And it's like a lot of self-reflection on this tape, and I guess you would get that for a last retirement tape. He's looking back now at what has gone well in his life, what will go better with his life as he makes this chapter he transcends into the next chapter, which we've spoken about on some of these other records before.
If you're searching for love in the industry, you'll be let down. They don't love you till you dead, and then they come.
I think this is a Lupe Fiasco sample, you know. I think this is a gold watches, something like that. It's mad because he's talking about in that first verse, you know, his new stuff's not as bumping as the old stuff. And you know what? I think maybe Logic has thought that his newer stuff, say 2018, 19 stuff, excluding this album, his album's good so far. Like, that didn't sit well because people are saying, oh, your new stuff's not as good as your old stuff. I do think he did drop a level down because he was oversaturating the market with his releases. Don't get me wrong, there are a few good songs in there, but I just think he missed the mark. With this, it's just reflecting on the industry, he's showing him love and appreciation. Again, underdog themes, again, put throughout the track. But in verse 2, he talks about Talia, talks about, you know, he's like 2185 or something like that. Like, we're in the future, last of the human race, Talia's numbers, she can talk to you about all the information. And it adds more of a personal experience into it because we've heard Talia before. So the first time that we know Talia. I mean, if you listen to Logic in the past, you know who that is. But it's just nice to get a little bit more context behind her. So fair play. Yeah, solid. But again, he's the smoothness of how the album is produced and you go from one song into the next. This is going to be hard to listen to on shuffle per se because you're going to hear the start of it and it's going to be instant. You're going to want to listen to the whole thing. So let's get to the next record and see what it's saying.
But I keep a beat, gotta compete. That boy gon' eat his sister feet. Once I release, I'm smoking trees. I put my shit, I don't need no
behind his production style.
Fair. All right, well, that is Pefect. That was my least favorite one so far. I mean, the beat does sound like a video game, so that's cool. Obviously, the Pefect, that sounded terrible, but you know what I'm trying to do. That was, you know, it gave it again more of a, you know, the Street Fighter ambience. It sounded like a video game. He's talking about his life as a celebrity in there. He's, you know, breaking stuff down. They're talking about non-talented rappers need to run and hide. You know, talking about his doze up, his money, all this stuff. It was all right. It was quite a quick song, so I'm not mad at it. It didn't hit for me. It didn't have that same feeling as the others, but maybe I think that's more down to the beat. I think the messages, again, he's still talking about the same stuff, but I just didn't like the beat selection. But I think I'm gonna like this one. It's called Man Is. Let's go. That saxophone's already hitting. Oh, hey.
Yeah. Paper chasing.
Not gonna lie, if this one was the outro, I know there's another album coming. You know there was. One thing I do like about Logic though is the fact that he's not afraid to talk about who he's been inspired by. Like, he references Cole, and as I was listening to this instrumental, I was like, this sounds like something that would have been on For Your Eyes Only. I like the fact that Logic is honest and open with his audience and people who listen to his music about who he's influenced by. Kanye West, Erykah Badu, Jay Dilla, MF Doom. Production wise, obviously this song's talking about who the man he is, and you know, his interactions with hip hop and how all his life and all the things that happened to him has got him to the man he is today. Very enjoyable. Maybe instrumental wise, so far that might be my favorite cut off the tape, but there's still a few more tracks to go, so let's keep it moving. Cheese, shout out DadBod, you know, come on DadBod, come on.
Yeah, smoking dope as a kite, only when that babysitter at the crib though.
He had to write that bar in, you know. He had to write that bar in about only when the babysitter around, because otherwise social services or child services or whatever they have in America, you would have just got knock on the door, open up, you know what I mean? That could have been a mad thing. So I'm glad he added that part in. You know, obviously we know this was recorded over the space of a week. That better have been a line that was said in that week, not after, but I'm glad he said it, because otherwise that would have been sticky.
And I love my wife like I am Chance. I bet you rap about this shit.
Listen, I just paused it. Man said, I love my wife like I am Chance. Listen, I don't think Chance the Rapper's ever going to get away from that, you know. His next album's got a bang. DadBod is definitely a song that gives you a perception of something different. Like, the age gap between like me and Logic is about 3-4 years, but I look at, you know, what he's done and how he's saying that, you know, he's not a kid now. Life's boring, you know, stepping into adulthood, you know, his wife calling his phone saying, listen, like, you might want to be in the studio 24 hours, 365, but you can't. You got a kid, you got me, I'm your wife. Not me directly, but you know what I'm trying to say. But like, it's that type of stuff. It's the responsibilities that he's got to make. And even when he's seeing like a girl that's like peng and he's thinking about like, oh, she kind of nice still, but he's thinking, nah, actually my main concern is I need a rubbish bag that has the most in it. It can fit the most trash. And I like that verse as well, where that part is spoken about, because before he mentions Stan, I was listening to it and I was like, the way he was describing it, and obviously hearing the car effect and the keys and all that, very much was reminiscent of what Eminem did with Stan probably like 20 years ago now. That's a long time. Yeah, this time round we got less I've mixed race and more just, you know, I'm gonna talk about my life and talk about the transitions I'm going through. And I like that because, you know, we had Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, and now we're kind of getting into this bag where there's a consistent theme going throughout, and we don't really get that many concept albums. And this is not necessarily a concept album, but it is following the life of Logic as he goes from being, you know, I've got a son now, so kind of I'm done with rap. And it's that type of thing. It's that transition from your heart 100% being in the rapper lifestyle, but now you've got dead wife at the hotel and you don't care about that anymore because you've got a son and a wife at home. So for that, it was powerful. Definitely very, 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 very powerful. It sounds like a computer being jammed.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, man. Okay. So we're like into his mind at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
You the illest, pray tell. I'm like God before Lucifer fell. I raised hell.
The switch up on that was unexpected, but it's happened a couple of times now already. So you're still unexpected. You're still not expecting it, but then when it hits, it hits. The production again, very much on point. I like the fact that he's taking us through his journey. Like he's talking about 2011, Young Sinatra, which is my entry point. So it was nice to hear. But 2014, 2020, being the face of the label, got songs with Killer Mike, 2 Chainz, Chainz, Gucci Mane, listing off this stuff. Name drops J. Cole again.
It's poured enough. I've been beaten and battered, my confidence shattered, been broken and tattered. I'm constantly second guessing Google on purpose just to read that I'm worthless. I remember making music alone, just a pen and a microphone. But
like, I guess for him, the whole Joe Budden and other people just saying he's trash, especially after that Twisted record and his verse, and a lot of people just slating him, it would get to you. And I think a lot of people, they get to the point where they're happy to say this person's trash and, you know, go ham on them. But I'm not saying Joe Budden did that. I'm just saying that people in general, like not celebrities, just fans or people on, let's not lie, Twitter. Bro, I'm 30, this is the oldest me, so you're not gonna get the me from when he was 19, 20, 21. You're getting this Logic, and this is where he is at his life, and he can't channel that older Logic. You just have to go through the journey with him. And we see Logic, you know, being apprehensive to write bars because he is a celebrity now. He is, you know, perceived to be one of the bigger rappers in hip-hop in this modern landscape, and he doesn't know what he wants to write. It's like a bit like how Kanye West has I Miss the Old Kanye, and he made that song. This feels like Logic's version of the same record. Like I said, people want the old him. He doesn't know what he wants to write. He's losing like the passion for it. And you know, listen to this, it makes you see why he's quitting. Why right now, I'm not even gonna say he's retiring, because he's not retiring. We know that he's coming back at some stage. He's gone on a hiatus where he's gonna live a bit more of his life, maybe a couple years, 5 years, and then come back, because you can't just drop the pen and never pick it up again. I don't think. I think there's always bars that are going to be going off in your head somewhere, and it's nice to see why he's gone, but we know that he's coming back at some stage. I'm pretty sure of it. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah.
A to Z.
Let's do it.
the dog, they wouldn't bank on
Right, so we got an alphabet song.
I feel the beat in my heart like
I wasn't really feeling that one. The beat sounded like something out of The Exorcist or something mad, like some hip hop version of The Exorcist, and the whole rapping the alphabet concept has been done before, so it's nothing original or new. This is my least favorite song off the tape so far. Hopefully that's not a sign of the rest of it to be the same, in the same fashion, the same suit, but this is the least favorite one for me. It was just a bit like meh. I mean, what are we now? This was like track 12 or something, right? This is track 11, and I don't like 2 of them, so that's not even that bad, to be fair. But we got Heard 'Em Say, track 13, that's up next.
With no smile on his face today.
face all of them and resolve them. Shit, I know you can't, cause I did.
I get the chorus and the little break so that we get different, you know, comments and opinions and thoughts from Logic. Like, he's not even talking about trying to do bars, he's just talking about depression and, you know, dealing with stuff like that and breaking things down again. The whole concept of the song is to empower you. Do you know what I mean? Empower you who's listening to it, who's feeling down. He's trying to be there to pick you up. Obviously, Heard 'Em Say links with the track from Kanye West from Adam Levine. I think that was back in 2005, so it's a while back. Obviously, in this album, he's already said that Kanye West was one of his greatest influences. This one didn't hit for me again. That's 3 or 2 in a row. Didn't hit for me that much, but I can see why, for someone who needs empowering, if they like the record, it will be effective for them.
Feel like the world wanna put me in a casket. Green waving when the grass is green. Hating on how
Kid sample.
Damn, Gina. This is
That was used effectively, though. That kid's little sample, yay! That was kind of funny, I can't lie to you, because we heard that so many times in YouTubers' videos that it's just like, lol. But it worked effectively in the song, so I can't even penalize that. Obviously, this one was more for the Rat Pack, you know, the fan base, or loyal fan base that he's got, you know, talking about, you know, he ain't no saint, he's definitely a sinner, but he's got God with him, and he speaks about some trials and tribulations he's been through again. I like the refrain when Amen comes in, the beat switch up a little bit, it adds an extra sauce to the track. And you know what, as I'm listening to this record, I'm thinking, yo, the piano sounds a little bit like what Tyler would use. Like, it sounds maybe like Earthquake or Running Out of Time, something along those lines, but it definitely sounds like something that would have been off Igor, and if there was ever a Tyler and Logic collaboration, this is probably what it would sound like.
Back at their oppressors, but to put down that mob, a mob would rise. Our children's children are the ancestors of a free people.
That was more of a transcript, not really much of Logic rapping. Logic barely makes a feature. I believe I believe that's Orson Welles, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So if you guys know, let me know in the comment section below. But I think that's Orson Welles. But I mean, with the impact of what's been going on in the world right now with Black Lives Matter, police brutality and all this stuff, the fact that Orson Welles was big, if this is Orson Welles by the way, but this sounds like an old recording, so it sounds something that might have come out of the 40s, 50s. The fact that they're talking about stuff that still pretty much can be spoken about in today's day and age shows that, you know, there's a lot to be done in the world, and Logic is just, you know, shedding light onto that. And then obviously the song's called Obediently Yours because the commentator signs out saying as I am always obediently yours. That's it, that's the album. Logic, no pressure. Went into this album with no pressure because he was about to retire. This album kind of came out of the blue. We only had about a week to realize that he was going to drop this. 15 tracks, pretty solid. I think there was I'm not going to count the outro, so say 14 tracks. I liked, I think 12 or 11 of those. I think there was a lot of themes that did come up quite repetitively, that did kind of slowly start taking away from the record as we got towards the end, but the instruments kind of, and the instrumentation around the record helped definitely boost it in its favor. You know, as you look through and you think about all the stuff that Logic's been through in the last 10 years and how some of his, you know, albums and some of his records have been subpar for his standards, and that's why fans were calling for the old Logic. I think he's done the best he can with his headspace and how he's feeling to share this with the fans, the Rat Pack, and, you know, wish everyone well and, you know, move on with the next chapter of his life in the gaming industry and whatever else he chooses to do. I think it was a really good album. I think it was enjoyable. I think it was a conceptual album that you have to listen to in a block. I wouldn't say there's any singles that I would say stand out massively that you would hear in, like, you know, the mainstream landscapes. This one was for the fans and almost, you know, inspired by the fans. So what did you guys think of the record? Let me know in the comment section below. I want to know your favorite tracks. I want to know your least favorite tracks. I want to know your thoughts about the overall record as a whole. I'll be back with a review sometime soon. Probably the Kid Laroi. I think the Kid Laroi is probably going to be next. So I'll catch you guys very soon. In a bit. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Rat Pack. Logic. No pressure. He's retired for now. That's all we can say. In a bit. Peace.